We are right. Good afternoon and welcome to this blab, which is, as the title says, about promoting your blog with myself and Barbara Saul. Good afternoon, Babs. Good to see you again.
Good afternoon, Stephen. It's very lovely to see you too.
Thank
Looking well.
Thank you for that. I've got a marathon walk in 8 days, so I've been training for that. I'm looking forward to it. 26 miles across the Salisbury Plain. And nobody else, well, there's nothing there because it's a military area normally used as a firing range, but they don't actually practice on the day, which is good. So
indeed, yes, that might be a bit
yes, you can walk the 26 miles and know that you're not going to have something whizzing over your head.
Well, it might be quite a fast 26 miles. There was.
True. Last year, I hope it's better than last year, because last year we've done 11 miles. We're on the 12th mile, and the heavens opened, thunder and lightning in the middle of nowhere, and you got soaked from head to toe. So, squishy soaked. You were wet through. I was wearing the wrong clothing, and weren't prepared for thunder and lightning. This year, I'm hoping it's a lot better, because last year was a challenge and a half. And we'll say good afternoon to us and anybody else who's watching. And this afternoon's topic, let's make a start, because we could natter all day, couldn't we? I mean,
we could, yes, and probably will if I have my way, because I'm in that kind of a mood. Anyway.
Right, that's good. That's good. We'll do that. Yes. Right. Okay. Promoting your blog. I mean, the situation is that we've covered hosting your blog, writing a blog post, and using images was the last topic we covered, which is available on YouTube now if people want to watch later. But today we're going from the moment you've actually published your blog and what happens next. What generally happens next, Barbara?
Well, nothing unless you tell people that it's there. Unless people are subscribing, of course.
Right. Okay.
The first thing you might have in place is that you have people subscribing to your new blog posts. So they'll get an email or a notification in however they want to be notified. So, for instance, I have a screen in my browser that updates with various feeds, various people's blog posts, their latest posts and things, so I can keep on top of things.
Right. Okay.
But other than that, unless you get some passing visitors, nobody knows about it until you tell them it's there.
It's a well-kept secret, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. People, whenever I make a website or anything, people think that all of a sudden hundreds of people are going to visit, and no, not unless you tell them. So that's the thing that you want to kind of think about. How do you want to let people know? How do you want people?
Right.
To know about what you've posted, and where are the best people? Where are your, the people you really like to read your post, the people that you've written for, where are they going to be? And that's where you want to share your post.
Right.
So
you need to share it, and your avenues you've got, you can tweet it out. Yes.
Yes, you can tweet it. Make sure that you've got a bit of room for people to retweet that if they want to.
Yeah, keep it 200.
I've just done a blog post on that, because that does get annoying when you go to retweet something and you're over the characters, so you can't. That doesn't always happen. No. It doesn't happen if you use Twitter directly, but a lot of people use other things like Hootsuite.
That's true, and you've got to keep it to around 125, 130 characters, haven't you, to be safe?
About that, yes. You've got to allow room for the person you're retweeting's Twitter name.
Yeah.
And a bit more if you want people to actually make a comment at the end, which I always like to do, because it kind of adds, something, saying that, this is a particularly good read, or if you're agreeing with somebody or something like that.
Right. So be retweet friendly is our first bit of advice.
Yes, indeed. And of course, on your blog post, you want to have some share buttons, which might seem obvious to some of us, but not to everybody. Indeed. That people are going to want to share, so it must be really obvious how to do that.
Yeah.
So at the bottom of your post, or top and bottom, if that's what you like, or somewhere that people are going to notice and think, oh yes, I will pass that on, I'll share it because I think that's interesting, or for whatever reason. Maybe they're just being friendly and helping a friend out or something like that.
For the sites that you run, which plugins do you use?
Well, because I use the Genesis theme, from Studio Press, I tend to use their sharing buttons.
Right.
But I'm going to look at alternatives, and also you can code things yourself quite easily and be fully accessible, which is something that's important still, of course.
Right. So if you're going to tweet, there are two questions: when to tweet and how many times.
Well, the thing to remember is, I need to remind myself of this, because I retweet once and I think, oh, I mustn't bore everybody. But of course, people aren't there all the time. They're, just passing through, and, not everybody or hardly anybody is going to see one tweet. So, every few hours, perhaps you want to send your tweet out to, send it out and say that you've got something worth reading here. And people will pick that up and things like that.
Right.
So,
and if a blog is timeless, you can of course retweet it as often. Well, given the guidelines that you don't want to annoy anybody, often, can't you? You wouldn't write a blog, tweet it once and forget it, would you? That would be a waste of your time.
Well, you'd think that, wouldn't you? But I find myself doing this because I forget about it.
Well, I think the
shocking behaviour, really. But
the thing is that people think if I tweet this blog 2 or 3 times, then people are going to get fed up. They're going to stop following me. It doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't, because the chances of the same person seeing your tweet more than once, unless you're in one of their lists or something. And if that's the case, then people are quite savvy and they know what's what, so they're going to understand that you have to put it out there a few times.
Because the situation is, as you say, they're not going to be on air all at the same time, and the problem is that people will miss it. So you need to retweet at different times of the day. Mix it up a bit.
That's right. Mix it up a bit. Mix the wording up a bit, perhaps, and things like that. So
yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, we did. I did the blog. The blab. Get confused between blabbing and blogging now. Did the blab with Dan last night, and obviously wrote the blog post for it. And it was a WB Wiltshire Business Club interview, so it was very formal. Was the title when it went out. So I changed that and said, do you love real chocolate? Are you a real chocolate lover? And gave it a different slant. And obviously, you're still attracting the right audience because Dan's a chocolate man. So rephrase the tweets, as you said.
Indeed, yes. The thing is, Twitter's just one way of doing it. If the people you want to reach are on Facebook, then you want to share, like the post and share it onto Facebook. And that can be as simple as, if you copy the URL of your blog post, pop to Facebook and paste that URL in your update box, or whatever you call it.
No, that's fine.
And then that will pull it should pull your image and the brief description, the first few lines or something, and the name. But then you want to take the URL off, because it's captured the information and the link, but then take the URL off, because then Facebook's more likely to show it to more people.
Oh, right, okay.
So that's a little trick that does actually work, I've found. So that could be quite useful. More people will see it. I don't know.
I should try that out on my next post to Facebook. I shall try that out on my next post to Facebook. Remove the URL after you've done it.
Yes, I can't remember where I've got that. I think it might have been Mike Turner that I picked that one up.
All right, good man.
So,
I'm down in Plymouth, in Devon. Now, the thing is, when you post it to Facebook, you've set a featured image for the blog, but Facebook might make up its own mind about what image it should post.
with that, there's various plugins that you can use that actually kind of tell or attempt to tell Facebook and everybody, you know, how to read things, you know, to read the excerpt. Oh, you know, the little.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, how do you say that? Goodness, I can't
Excerpt.
believe that. Excerpts,
The
yes.
P is silent.
Yes, I know. Never mind. Oh dear, I'm going to fall apart here. Yeah, so oh, I've totally lost
The plugins which actually try and force
yeah,
Facebook.
because sometimes, you know, it just doesn't pull the information through as neatly and very nicely.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to, you know, you don't need to do that often. Not everybody needs to. I've just had to do this on a couple of blogs that haven't come through very nicely. So
One thing I found that's handy when you're doing the post, you're doing the narrative, whether it's an excerpt or sort of just a little bit you're putting up to announce the blog, is that if the blog is about certain people who are on Facebook and are your friends, name them.
yes, tag them, or you know, put their names in. So do at and then the name, or sometimes you just start typing the name and it comes up.
Yeah.
Because then it gets their attention. They think, "Oh, I'll share that with my friends," and on it goes.
Well, this is
the same with Twitter, of course.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't want people to overdo this. Is that some people have their Facebook pages closed, in which case they have to give permission to you to post. Okay, and every day I get things coming through which saying, "Do you want this on your timeline?" The other side of that is that a lot of people have their Facebook pages open, and as soon as you type their name in the post, it will appear on their page automatically at the same time. Now, that's not a thing to be overdone, because you want a friend to stay a friend. But it does give you a greater reach, gives you a different audience. Yeah, especially with all these Facebook algorithm changes. The more people who are actually displaying your post willingly, the better. Yeah, because after that, I mean, once you've done your Facebook post, you can actually pay, can't you?
You can. You know, I mean, the thing with all of these topics that we talk about, they're just so wide that, you know, that's why we tend to meander all over the place, because, you know, we could talk for hours about just one of these things, like just Facebook or something. But indeed, if you're sharing to your page, you can automate that, of course, so that it automatically posts to Facebook. That can be quite handy if you're just feeding through and populating a page. But anyway, if you're there on your page, you can pay to boost a post. And that actually doesn't cost as much as you think it might. For instance, I chair a parents' association for my boys' school. And I was a bit late. It was my job to actually get the quiz night, a recent quiz night out there, and people signing up to come along to that. I'd left it a bit late for various reasons. So I thought, well, I wonder, because Facebook kind of says, if you were to boost this post, you know, you will reach everybody, because of course you don't reach everybody that likes you, so to speak.
Indeed.
If you're on a Facebook page. But if you do want to, and you've got a few hundreds, it's worth actually clicking through to see what happens and see what it suggests. Because I found we have a couple of hundred people that like the page. We just wanted to make sure we reached everybody.
Okay.
So it cost me 76 pence to reach everybody, which is nothing. Really that was quite affordable. So and we did the same recently with a golf day, which cost a little bit more because it was, you know, we wanted to go a bit further and reach people in the locality. But it was still, you know, I set a limit of £5, and that's all it spent, and it did reach quite a few hundred people. So it's worth having a look at if you've got something important to say or to share, or you just want to kind of grab people's attention with a particularly good post. Then do have a look at actually paying to just boost it a bit and share it a bit wider.
Evan, we've seen your question. We'll take it as we go along. If you stay with us, we will answer that question, but
well, I don't know. That's a big question.
we'll attempt to answer that question.
Huge question.
Right. Okay. Now so far we've been tweeting on our own. We've been Facebook posting on our own. And we've said you pay for a Facebook post, you get a wider audience. If you feel it's worth it, you can get your friends involved just by tagging them. You can send a tweet out and make sure it's short enough and get it retweeted. But, and here's the big but, the magic comes when you involve more people, doesn't it? Now, there are various avenues we can go down here. Triberr.
Yes.
What? Yeah. Triberr is a site that's been around a long time, hasn't it, really? Well, in comparative terms.
Indeed, yes, in internet terms. And, you know, that can be something. Moment.
Okay. Basically, Triberr is a website that you can join free of charge, and you join a tribe. Now, a tribe is made up of your fellow bloggers, and Triberr is spelt. I'll just go put the link in if I can get it right.
I've got it here.
You got it there. Okay, if you pop the link in, well, it will do. And good morning, Cheryl. And David, welcome. We've just been covering how to promote your blog post personally. Now we're looking at how to involve other people in promoting your blog post, because you've written the most perfect post. The prose is perfect, the pictures are right, the title is good, SEO likes it, everybody likes it, but nobody knows about it. So what we're doing is to push it out there. And our first port of call is Triberr. Now, Triberr's concept is very simple insofar as you join Triberr and then you join a tribe. Now, a tribe is composed of fellow bloggers, and they have signed up to a tribe so that you're saying, I will promote your post if you promote mine. And it's as simple as that. In other words, as soon as somebody writes a new blog post, Triberr finds out about it, and you get a message saying, would you promote this blog? And you press the link and you're promoting somebody else's blog. The other side of that is that when you write a blog, your tribe are told about it and they will do exactly the same. So if you're in a tribe of 50 people, then 49 people should send out tweets on your behalf. Is that reasonable?
Basically, yes. You know, I've not actually used it myself for a while, partly because I've been so quiet on the blogging front. But I shall dive back in again and have a play, because obviously, you know, your tribe, you want to make sure that you like what they're writing and that you're happy to share what they're writing. That's
the caveat. Somebody starts a tribe and they can decide who's going to be in the tribe. You can apply to join it. And if they like you, they will accept you. But it could mean that you're sending out tweets on topics of which you have no knowledge. So our suggestion will be that you have a manual override over there, and you only tweet out the ones that fit your personal space.
Yeah.
Because if you tweet out everything under the sun, then it might be fun, but it also might get you into some hot water somewhere.
Well, yes.
We're trying to be professional about this. Triberr is first port of call. It's basically where people can get together and promote each other's blog posts. And as soon as you post your blog, then tweets will go out from all the members of the tribe, and you can be members of more than one tribe. Okay, and it's always best that you know the host. If you can trust the host, then generally speaking, you can trust that they've taken people on board who will reciprocate when you do something. Now, the second area, which we've seen a growth of over the years, is the growth of sharing groups on Facebook, where a group of people come together. I know one of those groups. I know a couple of those groups where people come together to share each other's blogs.
Well, yes, it's quite simple, really, because then people know what their friends are doing, and don't be afraid to do that, because, you know, why wouldn't people want to know what you're up to and what you do professionally? So indeed, you can have groups. I mean, some of them get a bit silly.
Well, personality-wise, you mean?
Yes. So
Right. Okay.
again, it's like a tribe, isn't it? You
It
want to,
is, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, be able to trust and like who you're in a group with, in a sharing group with, so that you know, if it becomes too much hard work, you're not going to do it, and they're not
No,
going to do it.
no,
So
you've got to enjoy it, and
yes,
you don't pick. Right, you can start a group on Facebook. Takes 2 minutes to set it up. Don't auto invite everybody, because that is the road to hell, isn't it? We
that
all get these Facebook invites, and the worst thing is you don't see them, and then all of a sudden in your Facebook feed you see this post and you think, well, what is
what's that
that?
from?
Okay, so
Yes,
when you're starting your own Facebook group to co-promote each other, rules are simple. The first only rule you should need is mutual respect for everybody. Okay, nobody's there to have an argument. Nobody's there to uh, sort of fight with each other. People should be there to help each other. And you start by writing to the people that you know, and you invite them to join. You want people who write blogs, whose blogs you like, to join your group. And the quid pro quo is that you will, every time they write a new blog, you will tweet it out. Every time you write a blog, they will tweet it out. Now, these groups can start small. A group of say 10 to 20 people can make quite a difference, because
yeah,
if you've got 20 people in a group and they've undertaken to post your blog, every new blog, on Twitter and Facebook, then you're multiplying your own power by a factor of 20, aren't you? Plus the fact as you said, you're getting to know what each other's up to. It doesn't have to be a big group.
no,
In
indeed.
fact, smaller groups work better. You don't have to be one group. You can have several. But
And it doesn't just have to be tweeted. It can be on LinkedIn. For some people, if they're writing about HR, or if their audience is on LinkedIn, then you can perhaps share it there, or on Pinterest.
yeah.
There's all these different places that you can share these things now. Um, so yes, somebody's just, I don't know your name, Confluent Forms. It's just, you do want to be careful that
David.
David, hello, hi, that it isn't, that you're not just spamming. You want to actually be proactively sharing each other, kind of thing. So it's not just an automated sending out of everything. You're being a bit more hands-on than that, a bit more proactive.
Well, okay, but it is a numbers game. There's social proof is
Sadly, it partly, yes, you do need
yeah.
to
Yeah,
get things out there. If you don't, then not a lot is going to happen unless you are really exceptionally good. And
I mean, the name of the game, what you're trying to do, I mean, we're not talked about the aim of this, but the aim of this is twofold, isn't it? One, for people to read your blog, and two, the call to action is to sign up for your newsletter.
yes, or whatever. So whatever it is that you want, that whatever your strategy is, that you want people to actually do, whether it's to just download your ebook or whatever.
Yeah.
Again, that's moving on to strategy, which is again a whole new.
Yeah, well, that's quite possibly our next session next month.
Oh,
right. So building the Facebook group is simple and straightforward. Invite your friends that you trust. Get them to invite their friends. Now that's easier than it's harder than it sounds, really, but it's something you can persist with. And if you get a small group of 10 to 20 people together who are willing to cross promote, then that can work. Now, from experience, these groups start off like a train, and it's running down the track, and everybody's cross promoting everybody, and it works beautifully, and everybody's happy. And then somebody stops doing it, and then somebody else stops doing it. So you've got to keep control of the group, and you've got to keep it fresh, haven't you?
Yes, it may just mean that you refresh or update the group every 6 months or a year or whatever.
Yeah.
And also, I find that actually, if you don't force it, and that, you know, the thing is, if you will have people drop out. Some people will just stop blogging, and they'll think, oh, you know, I can't be doing with this, or you know, there will be all kinds of reasons that people don't do this kind of thing. But then there will be other people who are starting to get into it all, or who are intrigued by it and want to have a play.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I think it does want to be kind of organic and, you know, adapt to what different people are doing at different times.
Yeah. Now, the next stage that you can use, and we're both members of this, is a little known website. And I'm going to type its title in. Not that we're advertising it, of course, but it is wonderful. A website called Empire.Kred. Now, Empire.Kred is a social network, and if you've heard of Kred in comparison to Cloud, Empire.Kred is a social network which is social sharing and share trading. Now, the thing is that if you go to that site and join up, you will in fact, first of all, you'll get some social media monitoring tools. Kred, which at one time was like that with Clout, is a social media metrics company. And they work with the US Defense Department, a whole range of subjects. And they brought that technology to us, and it will measure your activity on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and it will give you a daily score for each of those. If you remember, Clout only gives you one score, mystical figure. Empire.Kred will give you up to 8 different scores. And if you're monitoring your scores in Empire.Kred, you can make sure that all the networks you're active on are increasing in activity. So that's the first thing, social media metrics. But we're talking today about promoting. When Babs and I finish here today, this video will go to YouTube, and I want the people in Empire.Kred to see it. So I will run a mission on Empire.Kred saying, here's the video on YouTube, would you please visit it? And because I've been on there quite a while and have built a reasonable reputation by networking with people, then people will take my mission and they'll visit the YouTube. Also, like with today's show, before we started the day, they also did another mission, which was to tweet out the URL. Now, a mission on Empire.Kred, where link is in the right-hand side, will allow you to promote your blog either by Twitter, by visiting the blog, or by visiting your blog site in general. And that one tool will enable you not only to measure what you're doing, but to increase your presence on social media. That's the advert of it, apart from to say that next week will be the first ever Empire.Kred Blab Chat.
Excellent.
Watch this space. Right, that's a commercial over. But the thing about this site, as we both know, is it's free. And it's friendly as well, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, exceedingly friendly. The social network that runs behind it means you can get to know a lot of people. And I'm personally connected with around about 800 people in the States and Canada and around the world in the last few years. And for those of you who don't know, Empire.Kred is actually run by a small group of members. It's a member-run site. We handle the day-to-day operation of the site, whereas Empire.Kred themselves provide the infrastructure. So I'm proud to be one of the members behind the scenes helping the site run. So if you have any questions on it, you can visit my blog. There's a blog on there about Empire.Kred. The blog is hosted by Barbara, and we've come full circle now. Right, so Empire.Kred is a way of getting the word out as well. Right, now we come to another thing which has changed over the years, really, and that's automation, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. I personally like to manually share things and put things out there, because then I can add my own point of view and things like that, or I can tweak things to suit whatever it is I want to say. But of course, not everybody wants to do that, and also you don't always need to do that. So, of course, there are, if you're using WordPress, then there are plugins that will do anything and everything that you want, except for make the coffee. I've still haven't found that one. Or make bread. Oh, fresh bread would be nice.
Indeed.
Anyway, yes, you find a plugin that works for you and test it out. There's always going to be, dozens and dozens that do whatever you want, but you want to make sure that you choose one that does things in a way that works for you. I have a client who, he just does lots of quick articles on travel. So he just he has that automating, feeding into his Facebook page so that goes there. And then that tweets out as well. So, which is all well and good, but, you do want to be hands-on as well and be,
yeah, that's true.
I'm very much more on the social side of things.
Yeah.
But then that's why I'm not making my millions, I suppose. So, perhaps.
The beauty of this is that we both enjoy what we do, Babs. Now, I'm going to use one of the latest widgets, which are available here on Blab, so you can all see it. One of the ways that you can promote your blog is through Tweet Jukebox. Now, there are several different varieties. In fact, it's now called Social Jukebox. John Upton corrected me the other day when I said Tweet Jukebox. Said, no, it's not. It's grown up. It's been going long enough now that it's actually called Social Jukebox because it does Facebook too. Now, neither of us would sort of say you should automate everything that you do, because it is about being social. It's about being connected with people. But the fact is that we live in a 24-hour world in in time zones across the world, and for us here at the moment it's 2:30 on a Friday afternoon. Now we're well aware that on the East Coast it's 9:32 and on the West Coast it's 5:32. So there is no way that during our normal working day, Babs, that we could put tweets out which would reach both the East and West Coast of America or even Australia. So we have to do some sort of automation for when, well, basically for when we're sleeping. So Tweet Jukebox is one of those. You can set up a free Tweet Jukebox, which you can populate with tweets that you want, and it will then send them out randomly on your tweet timeline whilst you sleep. So you start at midnight and run until 6 in the morning, and it would tweet out your blogs overnight. And the thing is that you're reaching a different audience. When you tweet live, you're tweeting to the people who are awake at the time. When you tweet through Tweet Jukebox, you're tweeting to the people who are awake when you're asleep. So Tweet Jukebox, free, and then there are paid plans. And I final closed Tweet Jukebox was saying that with Tweet Jukebox was created by of Empire.Kred. They helped beta test it, and then it came to life. So Tweet Jukebox is one way. You can also schedule on Hootsuite for free, and then there's Buffer, isn't there?
Yes, indeed. I mean, all of these things are there to spread your tweets so that you might be on Twitter for, say, half an hour a day or 2 batches of half an hour or something like that, which, we can't be on it all day, much as it might be fun and interesting to do that. We've got work to do.
Yeah.
So, using something that then will spread your tweets, you can actually set it, if you have something like Buffer or something like that, it will, feed things through the day or week or whatever. I use Hootsuite for mine, and I actually set it to do automatic scheduling, so that it kind of spreads things across nicely. And then I'll just add things that I want to share from other sites. I will pop them in there as a tweet and spread it over so it doesn't look like I'm really. But then, I like to pop in a good three or four times as well when I'm keeping on top of it. Then you can sort of then chat to people in effect sometimes, which that's the part of Twitter that I enjoy most, I think.
Right. Okay. We'll take a breather for a moment. If you have questions, unfortunately, you can't type /Q anymore. It doesn't work. Just type your question in the right-hand side, and we'll come to it. Hopefully, chronologically, as we check back. I'm going to go back to Evan's first question in a moment. If you want to join us on air, we'll finish recording. You can join us on air now if you want. If you've got any questions for Barbara, then you're welcome to jump in the seat and join us. Or you can join us after we finish recording, which will be in about 10 minutes' time. Right, we've covered most things. We've said, right, okay, you can promote on your own. You can tweet your blog more than once because nobody's going to stop you and nobody's going to stop following you. You can promote it on Facebook, and if you do and your blog names people who are friends on Facebook, include their names in the post because then it will appear on their page as well.
Excuse me.
Okay, you can tweet out your blog as many times as you wish, and not on the same day though. Do sort of buffer it a bit yourself and tweet out. And most of the blogs that you write, blog posts that you write, will be evergreen. In other words, unless you're writing about Easter and Christmas, you can retweet them anytime. We then went on to talk about getting other people involved. And first of all, we mentioned Triberr, which is group sharing. The idea being that you join the tribe and they will share your new blog posts as you share their new blog posts. Now, it's not without its complications or its personality clashes occasionally, but it can work. The other area where you can be in control is to look around at your friends who do blog as well and start a Facebook group. It doesn't cost you anything. And personally invite those people to join the group. And then you can start cross-promoting each other. Now, 10 to 20 people can make a difference to your reach, because if it's you tweeting on your own, the same people are going to see it every time. If you've got 19 other people tweeting, then other people are going to find out about your blog. Okay. Then we went on to an advertisement for Empire.Kred, which is another way to actually get your word out there. And then we went on to Social Jukebox and Hootsuite as well. So we're ready to take the question, and it's sort of the big question, isn't it? I'll read it out for those who can't see the text. I need to go back up again. And what's the question? It's a very simple question, really. What is your 5 steps advice? How to set up a blog so it generates thousands of social shares and passive traffic and rank on all SERPs?
Well, give people what, the people that you expect to be sharing or want to be sharing and visiting and all that, give them what they want.
Yeah.
Because, if you're creating content that people want to read, then, make it easy to share. So, right. People don't have to think about how to retweet, how to tweet or share on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. So make that very simple, but it has to be down to what you're actually writing and providing for people. Yeah. That's basic. That is what it all boils down to. So you need to understand what, the thousands of people that you expect to share or want to share. Why would they do that?
Yeah.
And if you answer that question, you've nailed it. But that's a very simplistic answer. And
well, the magic sauce and the ingredients of the magic sauce are difficult to find. We do know some of them, but we don't know all of them. We don't know all of them. The first one is quality, isn't it? As you just said, Barbara. Make sure that what you write is quality. And it's the best that you can do. That's the only quality standard there is, the best that you can do. The second thing is that you have to then put in the hours. You can't, right? Okay. be in the bite time. You can't buy Twitter followers, you can't buy Facebook friends, and hope that that's going to have any effect whatsoever on your social media presence.
Indeed. I mean, the people you buy, well, we all know now that it just doesn't make a difference unless they happen to be people that want what you're giving, what you're providing, what you're offering. So yes, if you want to do it on no budget, then the thing is, your time is worth something. So you have to, put the time in. Then that's your budget. That's your resource. Is what you can actually do. It does need to be good quality, but it also needs to be answering whatever your readers want. You need, and until you actually understand that in the first place, you can write away and nobody, it doesn't mean anything to anybody or doesn't result in what you want.
Right.
So you do need that basic understanding and build it from there. And away you go, and just keep at it. It's not going to happen overnight.
The other thing you mentioned earlier, Babs, which is most important, is social networking. If you do this in isolation and you're aiming to thousands of people, you've got to get to know hundreds of them, haven't you? You've got to interact. There's a saying which comes back from our academy days, which is 10 years ago. We like to mention academy because it brought us all together, quite a few hundred of us. Givers gain. Now, the principle is very simple, and we've seen films about it where it's been promulgated that if you give something without expecting something in return, you will eventually gain. Now, all I can say from a personal point of view is that works. You're doing favors for people, you're not calling them in, and then all of a sudden, you do something and everybody says, I remember that person helped me in the past, and they all get together and they make you reach a larger audience because they want to. That's
the best way of doing it. It really is. Because people want to.
If you ask people to do something, the first time they'll do it, the second time they'll do it, the third time they'll go, well, what are you doing for me? Whereas if you've done a lot in helping people, in helping promote them, in helping practically, I mean, let's take an example which is very close to home. In that, if people have a WordPress question and they send you it on Facebook or on Twitter, they get an answer, don't they? Quite a bit of the time.
They send it directly to me. Yes, I've pulled back a little bit, and sort of in some of the groups I'm in, somebody asks a question, I don't dive right in and answer all of them because I have to do some paying work as well. And also to give, other people have got the answers as well. So yes, I've been using WordPress for years and know it pretty well, but that doesn't make me the expert on it at all, not by a long shot. It's kind of nice to have built up that reputation that, yes, I am quite helpful and things.
Yeah.
But you do have to make sure people don't take advantage of that.
True. Okay.
Without intending to.
Okay. We'll go with the principle that if you help others, then down the road, you'll get help, not necessarily from the people you've helped, but from other people. And that's social networking. And that's the way it works. You're not buying favor, you're actually doing something genuine, which people appreciate. Now, we have another question from CD, and this is, what are the most important steps creating successful content?
Oh, well, I'm going to have to write a blog post on that one. Goodness,
okay.
It's a great title, isn't it? So,
it is, yeah.
What are the most important steps? Knowing who you're writing for, what do they want, and then researching and giving that to them.
Right.
That's off the top of my head, and just everything that whenever I'm doing any internet marketing online, any of the strategies work.
Yeah.
have to get right down, take it right down to what do you want to achieve? Who wants, how are you going to, well, you need to know who you're writing for. You need to
The
understand
audience, yeah.
your audience, your visitors, your customers, and really give them something very useful, something they really want to read or know or share,
Yeah.
and make it really easy for them to then do what you want them to do. So if it's to sign up, you have something on the bottom of your blog. If it's to buy something, then have something just there when they get to the end that tells them how they get what they want.
Yeah, one of the things that I was talking about on another blog earlier in the week is that, I was listening to Kevin's blog earlier when he was speaking to somebody who completed the 30-day blogging challenge, and they said that one of the most important things for being successful and creating content which is successful is consistency. Whenever they write the blog, it doesn't matter, but they publish one blog every Monday, and the people who are on their mailing list or watch them on Twitter know that they're going to blog on a Monday. It's been like the Blogging for Britain show. Everybody knows it's 10 o'clock Thursday. Well, they do now. Being consistent is part of the formula for being appreciated, because if people know that in their inbox on a Monday morning to start their week, they're going to see your smiling face every Monday, then they will look forward to it, won't they? Because you're being consistent. Now, you might have written the blog the day before, the night before, the week before, but you're actually publishing it on a regular basis. Now, one of the things that people do is, well, I don't know. Can you blog too often?
Depends on what you're blogging about, really. Some things you can blog every day, twice a day. Or if you've got different authors, then that's more like a newspaper kind of thing, or can be. You could definitely blog too little.
Yes.
I'm really not walking the talk at the moment, but I'm getting there. Too busy.
Yeah. So is there any inspiration that we gain? We'll
Absolutely, yes. I wouldn't dream of not. Partly because then that's going to get your attention.
Basically, when it's published when it's posted on Facebook, you give a link to Chris, won't you?
Absolutely, yes.
There you go. And
yes.
It can appear on his page as well. Yeah, and it will have full credit. So that's networking. You've suggested something, Barbara's taken it as an idea, and now there will be a blog post about it. And that's how it works.
That's how it works. That's exactly it. That's what we've been talking about.
And many things start in jest, but become reality.
No, you're absolutely
right.
That's
the best way. It's the way things come about. I mean, just by being here today and chatting, we've had some wonderful inputs, some wonderful questions, and we've covered a topic which we feel is important in promoting your blog, because if you've written the most perfect blog in the world, and that's a blog with a good title, reasonable prose, not too much of it, great photographs which you've got the copyright for, or bought.
Yep.
Promoting it is the next step, and it's very important. It is something we will revisit, because it's an endless job, isn't it? Because to achieve what we were asked to do earlier, which is produce a multi-million visit blog, is our aim. So we're going to keep at this. We'll be back.
Again, I should give that some thought and see what I can come up with, because indeed, yes, that's what we'd all like, is to know the answer to writing the best thing that thousands of people are going to share.
Back in the day, 10 years ago, you could start a blog, tell somebody about it, you'd have readership. It's not the same these days with millions of blogs about you. You've got to be found. But people won't find you You've got to go out and look for them, and you've got to find them on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, the other thing, a topic we could cover, but obviously we've been running nearly an hour today, is repurposing a blog. Perhaps we can look at that in the future as well.
Yeah, let's do that. Like we were saying earlier, is there are just so many aspects to all of this that we do. I'm terrible for meandering as well, anyway, which I'm sure you've noticed.
We're here to get the message out, and to have fun while we're doing it is brilliant. And to go off topic occasionally, no problem. Whereas, we both do that. That's part of who we are. Networking. That's a compliment, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Right. In a moment, would you like to? Shall we thank everybody first? And
yes, indeed. Thank you so much for coming along and asking your massive questions, and for being here and sharing what you think as well. So that's really great. Thank you very much.
Right. I echo Babs' comments. It's been a pleasure chatting today and having you join us. I'm going to pause the recording now. Don't go anywhere.